they had her like wrapped in a blanket or something. I was like, oh my God, is that her corpse and she's dying?
You're a pig.
I gave his mother a goat.
Do I give a damn? No, I don't.
He wants to marry me.
Welcome back to the reality show. Now picture this, you guys. I'm going through my comments for the clips that I posted from the Holly Madison episode. And by the way, thank you for everyone who gave me nice comments about that. It was a really fun episode to do. But imagine this. I'm reading a comment and someone lets me know that I was holding the microphone the wrong way the entire time. So if you had trouble hearing me that episode, I am very sorry. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow, how she can't pretend to be someone who makes $60,000 a year. I can't pretend to be someone who always knows how to use a microphone properly. I just can't. Now, today's episode is kind of giving time travel vibes because this is actually one of the first episodes I ever recorded with Claude Shwartz. She was a cast member on a show that I worked on called The Come Up. It was one of the first shows I ever did when I moved to New York. But one thing led to another, and this episode ended up getting pushed. So it is releasing now, even though it's actually one of the kind of original files. We, in this episode, are going to be talking about the Real Housewives of DC, which Claude immediately suggested when I asked her to come on. I had actually never seen it, so I watched the entire season in like 2 days before we met. The Real Housewives of DC premiered on Bravo in 2010, and much like The Come Up, it only lasted for one season. And before the series even came out, it was announced that one of the cast members, Michaele, had snuck into a state dinner at the White House. This caused a ton of drama, and it ended up being the reason that the show got canceled. So that was one of the first ever big Real Housewives scandals. Claude and I get into the whole thing, so don't worry, we will explain everything to you. I hope you enjoy this episode because the show was really crazy and I am very sad that it doesn't exist anymore. Welcome to the reality show. Today is a really special episode because I am meeting with the one and only Claude Shwartz. And Claude actually is a bit of a reality star herself because she was on the hit freeform series, The Come Up. And today we're actually not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a different show. So Claude, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me, Jackson. It's so wonderful to be working together again.
I know, right? Thank you for coming on. So tell me, what show are we here to discuss today? And of course,
we are here to discuss the Real Housewives of DC, not to be confused with the Real Housewives of Potomac.
Yes, not to be confused. And we should maybe disclose too, because we'd probably be breaking some laws if we didn't, that I was your producer on that show that you were on, The Come Up.
I know. I'm always surprised, Jackson, that you don't like lean into like your reality TV production credits in like, you know, your TikTok. But
I think about doing it sometimes, but I just feel like even if it comes up in conversation, people are always like, oh, did you ever work on The Real Housewives? And I'm like, no.
But better yet,
like,
I worked on The Come Up.
Yeah, exactly. I worked on a show that was actually way bigger and much better.
Do you know Claude Shwartz? Because like season 20, like she was
yeah.
Real Housewives of New York, season 20. I'm actually, I guess they're probably almost at season 20, so season 30.
Yeah, so what season even are they on for New York? I don't know.
I did see that Carol Radswell is going to be a friend of. Did you see that?
I saw that, and I can't wait. I love Carol.
Yeah, me too. I'm very much Team Carol. Have you ever met Carol?
No, I haven't. Have you?
I have, yeah. Like kind of. I mean, like in a fake way. I've met her, yeah.
I feel like she would be like friends with your mom.
She's not. No, one time. I mean, I've seen her around a bunch, and then I did meet her once at this like random party at a friend's parents' house that she was crashing, apparently.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well,
allegedly.
Speaking of crashing, there's actually a lot of that happens in the Real Housewives of DC, which is what we're here to talk about. So why did you suggest that we talk about the Real Housewives of DC?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, maybe this is sort of passe now, but it was extremely infamous for a while. I don't know if I remember like when the like whole like crashing of the White House thing happened. Like that was like a huge news story. Do you remember that?
I don't remember it in real time at all. What are your memories of it?
I just remember that it was like, you know, a huge story. And it was sort of like this first time that there was like a ton of widespread criticism of the Housewives. Then like SNL spoofed it, and it was like I mean, that like it was like Kristen Wiig in the sari that she wears, that like iconic red sari. But no, I also think it's actually really great. Like I love Real Housewives. I've watched them all. And so obviously when this was added to Peacock, I had to watch it. And it honestly would have been so amazing if they had kept going with it, you know? Like, wouldn't you love to see all those girls now? First of all, you know Michaele, like what's happened with her since she left Tariq, whatever his name is.
Tarek, yeah.
For the guitar player of Journey. And she now goes to all the Journey shows.
That's
and they had like this very scandalous divorce.
Oh, wow. Okay, so for context, what we're talking about is that the Real Housewives of DC, the whole thing essentially is building towards this scandal, which if you were watching the show, you already knew about because it made news stories. And the scandal was that one of the cast members, Michaele, and her husband attended a White House state dinner that during the Obama administration that they were not invited to. They said that they were going through some loose connections they had to ambassadors from India, which is why Michaele wore a bright red sari, and it ended up being a huge thing. It made news. They had to like go to, I think, a Senate hearing, right?
Yeah, they were called to appear in front of Congress.
So all this happens before the show even airs, and then when you're watching the show, you know that's going to happen, and it's all kind of building towards it. And from the beginning, Michaele and Tariq are painted, I think rightfully, as like being total frauds, and so you're just like waiting for this huge moment to happen. But yeah, so this additional context, this was the, I think, 4th Housewives installment. Is that right? No, this was the 5th installment. So there was OC, New York, Atlanta, New Jersey, and then DC, aired in 2010. And yeah, I think this was the first time that Housewives had really serious real world repercussions, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and I loved this sort of like recession era Housewives. Like that's so classic to me. Like that's, I think a part of like why the Housewives are incredible is the fact that they came up in this like moment where like society was so interested in like fraudulent nature of people's wealth.
I think that's very real, and there is like a really certain era of recession era Bravo shows, like Hell on Earth. That entire thing is about how like she like is struggling to keep the business open because of the recession. So
I've never seen that show. I've never seen the Kelly Cattrall show.
I watched it because I did an episode on it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
It reminds me too much of like my actual job that I had.
Totally. Yeah, I was gonna say it is like pretty similar. Okay, so walk me through the cast members of DC. Let's break them down.
Okay. I took some notes for us.
Great.
I only took notes for the first episode, and then I'll have the rest just in my memory. But
perfect.
Okay, so
I took notes for the other, so we have it covered.
First is Mary. Mary has 5 kids. What do you think of her husband? I don't remember his name. Doesn't matter.
He seems gay.
He does seem gay, and he won that style award thing for those like very homosexual pants. But
yeah, they were like really bright, and I feel like maybe even had those swirls on them. I don't know what you call that.
Paisley,
thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, she also has these 5 kids. She doesn't work, or she like is an interior decorator maybe. In every scene, she has a glass of wine in her hand. Have you noticed that? Like truly, every single scene, she's okay. I honestly do love Mary. I think Mary would have become sort of like the Kyle Richards of the group if they had continued to go on. You know, just like we would have seen her issues with her husband, and then like all the stuff with her daughter as well, which we can get into later. Was it in the first episode? I think it's in the first episode that Mary has like this, like she gets drunk and she says that she wants to integrate salons.
Yes. Yes. Mary in the first episode is like so drunk at her birthday and then starts talking to Stacy, who we'll get into this later, but was the recipient of a lot of like microaggressions throughout the whole season, and starts talking about how we need to integrate salons and we may have different hair texture, but why can't we be together? Her tagline also is, I don't make money, I spend money.
Right. And also the other thing about the show that's it's so lovely and refreshing to watch it right now with like how horrible the world is like it's truly Obama era optimism at its finest. Like they keep referencing, I guess the Obamas were just like, they just got inaugurated like this year in the show.
Yeah, it would have been that same year.
So, and like they keep being like the beautiful couple in the White House, they're changing the world. Next on my list is Linda, who is definitely sex trafficking. That there's no way there's what is up
you
with
think
this?
That's what's
mean,
going
I'm
on
kidding.
with her DC modeling agency?
I'm kidding. But like maybe it's a brothel or something. I don't really understand what modeling needs all of the embassies and dignitaries need in DC. I don't really know what their model needs would be. Besides the Burkina Faso fashion show. But
well, I was going to say, don't forget about the Burkina Faso fashion show because she needed models for that. Yeah, she runs the biggest modeling agency in DC. She lives in this like hideous apartment in Georgetown, which I was shocked by. I was like, aren't you supposed to be rich?
But also like all of her home sort of, it's like it's so realistic and unglamorous. Like you can just see like all the wires of like the television being plugged in. Of like, I don't know. There's just absolutely no art on the walls, but I guess that's also like a production thing. You can't show art on the walls or something.
Yeah, they probably took stuff down.
Yeah. And she's dating Ebong. What do you think of Ebong? I think he's hot, honestly.
Oh, he's totally hot, and he's like super tall and like
and
was
she's
sweet.
so short.
Him.
She's so short. What do you think of couples that have such height discrepancies? Would you ever date a really short person, Jackson?
I would, and I have.
Oh.
Although it's not my preferred mode of dating these days, but never say never. I think that I was thinking she has kind of like old school plastic surgery face. I was thinking where she has like really huge veneers
very Danielle
and
Staub.
a ton. Yes, very Danielle Staub, and she has a ton of like Botox and maybe a facelift, but not really any filler. And it kind of made me miss that look because now I feel like when you watch Beverly Hills, it's like, you know, we've inflated a giant balloon.
That's such a good point about like what's changed in plastic surgery. You're right. Like it's trout mouth. Isn't that like a Sonia Morgan term of like that certain hollowness below in like the cheeks almost?
It's trout mouth, like the fish.
Well, it goes a whole.
Yes, I get. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and she Danielle Staub had that look. Sonia had that look. Like they all kind of like were going after that look. Now people go for more like the Kyle Richards look or like Sabrina Carpenter look.
But Kyle Richards had that look too back in the day, honestly.
Yeah,
like they all did. LVP very much had that look back in the day.
Yeah, LVP really did.
What else is there to say about Linda? Oh, she converted to Judaism at 20. Thought that was
Yeah, she converted to Judaism and is also really spiritual and will always be like lighting Native American incense, but she is a Republican. Not that those things can't go together, but I just feel like oftentimes they don't.
Wait, she said she was a Republican? I must have missed that.
So
she's the one that's so pro-gay marriage.
So at the reunion, Andy asks them all, and this is fresh in my mind because I just watched it.
I didn't watch the reunion, by the way, everybody. So.
That's okay. I covered it for the both of us. So Linda is a Republican but voted for Obama. Mary is a Republican but says that she votes for issues, not parties. And then Michaele and Stacy are Democrats, unsurprisingly. And then Kat is British. Let's move on to Stacy.
Okay, Stacy is the first time on Real Housewives that they had like one token black person on the cast, and then like for years later they never did that and like faced so much criticism or like segregated the cast. And her husband, he is something else. What's his name?
Jason. He's hot.
Jason.
I thought he was really
hot. He is hot, but what did you think about his homophobia?
Yeah, I feel like he wouldn't be homophobic now. I feel like he was 2009 homophobic. Yeah. Because, when they have a discussion about gay marriage, and he goes, well, you know, there's a lot of us where we just don't believe that gay people should be married, and then you call us homophobes, which isn't fair.
He was like, I find this issue really vexing. And wait, and then I'm sorry, but
honey, me too.
What's the like gay best friend that like
Paul.
is like the Dwight Paul? Paul is so funny in that scene. Paul is like, well, you are homophobic, and I should be able to get married because I'm called a faggot on the street. So I should.
Paul was amazing. Paul was in almost every episode of DC, and now
Paul was really much. I thought he was kind of copying. The producers were trying to have him copy. Yeah, Dwight.
Oh, it's Dwight. Oh, but they say it like Dwight.
In Atlanta, Dwight.
Yeah, but they always pronounce it like Dwight. But yeah, that was like the Dwight prototype of like having one gay guy on the show.
Yeah. And then, they did it because they had Dwight, Miss Lawrence. What was that other guy?
Oh, Miss Lawrence. Is that the one who Marlo called a faggot?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Stacey. Who have we not covered?
Kat. Love Kat,
okay, Kat.
Honestly. Kat was great, I thought. I mean,
I hated Kat.
Oh, really? Why did you hate Kat?
She's like Lisa Vanderpump, but not funny. The only thing that she did that I liked was when she sat down with a Republican lobbyist, Edwina, and went, "So you're a Republican healthcare lobbyist? That's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it?" Then I was like, queen. Other than that, I thought she was so annoying.
I mean, I just think she's like so campy and ridiculous. Like her relationship with her daughters, where she's like, "My daughters are my best friends." Like,
her daughters were better for TV than she was.
Yeah, they were great. Well, also, she's the one who called. The Tyra thing?
Oh, okay. So talk about the Tyra thing.
Okay, so Kat is no. Stacey invites some of the ladies over to her house for dinner, and it's some special chef who is Janet Jackson's chef, I guess. Yes. And Stacey's friend Erica, who like honestly deserved to be one of the wives. Like, I thought she was like bringing, she was bringing
a lot.
She was bringing way more than Stacey did in terms of like conflict with the girls.
Totally.
Stacey and Erica are there, and Kat comes. They start talking about Tyra, because I guess the chef also worked for Tyra, and she says she thinks she's a bitch or something. And she does like this very kind of racialized impersonation of Tyra, which like that made sense that people were offended by that, because that was insane. But I don't know. They took it very personally that she said she didn't like Tyra.
They did. Well, I think it was that she said the Tyra thing, and then it was coupled with other things. Like randomly, she started talking about how she really likes George Bush, which is like so random when you're British.
Oh. No, she liked George Bush more than Obama, and that George Bush came to her wedding, but Obama did not. But also, yes. Do you really think George Bush went to the wedding, or do you think he just sent a gift? Because if she wore that dress to the wedding, it's hard to imagine George Bush and Laura sitting there, just like clapping their hands.
I know, right? Are there pictures? We should find them. But yeah, she says that she doesn't like Tyra, and she does kind of an impression of her being like, she's always doing this, and it does feel like a microaggression and like it's racialized. And then that's one of the many things that she goes on to do. I think the other thing that she did is she goes to a big like family event at Stacey's extended family's house. Weird. And it's like and it's like majority like black, and she just is clearly really uncomfortable and like weird, and like maybe
she was invited to the cookout, you know?
Yes, she was, and she absolutely couldn't handle it, and it was really. Whereas on the other hand, Linda like totally thrived.
What did you think of Mary's family foot pic?
Wait, family foot pic? What do you mean?
They like in her first scene, she brings her whole family to a photo studio, and they like. They sit in a circle with their feet in the middle, and it's like they take pictures of their feet, and then that was like the holiday card.
Wait, I remember them doing the holiday card, but I didn't realize that was the shot that they landed on.
Well, I mean, I didn't see what was mailed out, but that was one of the poses.
The photographer's like, well, no, we have to get this pose, you guys, and it goes into his personal spank bank, probably.
Yeah. The last but not least is Michaele, who is the one who causes the big scandal in the end. She is the social climber. Her and her husband Tark own Oasis Vineyard, which has no grapes. all the trees are dead.
Yes, they own Oasis Vineyard, and they are actively being sued by Tariq's mom, who's trying to take back control of the family vineyard, and it's not open for business. And they even invite the ladies to come do a grape stopping event, and you can tell that the grapes that are there, like, they got from the grocery store because they're not wine grapes, and like they're stomping on them, and like it doesn't create any juice. So
I know, and they're like, get in, girls. Start like Tark like wants to like jerk off to watching them like stomp on these. They should have invited Mary's photographer.
So Michaele is interesting. I wonder, actually, as a budding therapist, what you think is wrong with her, because like, do you think she has like trauma or something? Like, she's really not in touch with reality and delusional in this way that's not fun. Like with Sonia, really, like it feels like she's really like just rose-colored glasses, like just trying to pretend like everything's okay when like her husband is a fraudster, obviously.
I mean, I don't say this in to be shady, but like she does sort of seem very like low IQ.
Totally.
Like in a cognitive way, but yeah, so I guess that's my diagnosis of her. But like, there might be some trauma. Like, probably, like this alone is traumatic. She's like living in some like abandoned vineyard in the middle of like buttfuck nowhere, Virginia. They don't even live in DC. They get hotel rooms every fucking day, it seems, to go stay there. Or like, and when you get to the end of the season and they're getting ready to crash the White House party, and they literally are getting dressed at the hair salon. I'm like, girl, like, you might as well just like be at the Starbucks on Pennsylvania Avenue. Like,
no, literally, it's crazy the level of like fraud. They're kind of, I was gonna say, not because of the fraud, but I think that Michaele, I can never think of how to say her name.
Yeah,
I think
me
that
either. I'm gonna call Michael E.
Michael E. Michaele and Tariq, I think, are kind of the Alex and Simon of DC, and that they're really like showy. They show up to like every single scene in a white limousine, like even when it literally doesn't make any sense to.
Yeah, and all of their like clothing, like I kept noticing when, especially when they were at the vineyard, they would be dressed in these like. They looked like very outdated clothes, especially for like, you know, we think of the 90s as like obviously like a vintage era of fashion, but they sort of had like, it just seems like old clothing from the 90s in the 2000s of like this almost, I don't know, I would imagine like you're watching NASCAR and like smoking a cigarette at like the chill of autumn in 1994 in their outfit. Like,
yeah, she kind of has the same aesthetic as what's her that woman Jackie, who like made like who was the subject of the Queen of Versailles and like made that really big house, Jackie Siegel. I feel like Michaele kind of gives that, but in DC.
Well, first of all, the other thing about Michael E is that he's anorexic, or as Linda brings attention to in the very first episode.
Yes. Okay. So that's one of the first dramatic moments at the very beginning, is that Linda keeps like making comments about how Michaele is like dangerously thin and kind of alluding to like it being because of her husband or because she's under stress or something. And at one point it like comes up.
I was just going to say, doesn't it completely remind you of like the moment where Lisa Rinna says that Kim Richards is like on the verge of death, and that was like a big
totally, when she says, I think that she's very close to death.
I think she's on the verge.
and then when someone brings that up, she goes,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but Linda really owned it, because it comes up at the event. She's confronted by Michaele saying like, I heard that you were talking about my weight, and Linda says, I just said that I think that you need a burger and fries. With her like crazy like veneer Botox face,
but also like standing like a foot below her as well. Like,
yeah, because
it feels like the camera is like aiming down on Linda. Like, but no, she does seem like something's like truly wrong with her in like a not fun way. I wish Edwina Rogers was also made full time on the show. The other thing about Michaele that you should know is that she's that her husband Tariq, he's the head of the polo league, the American polo something. And so in the first episode, they have an event that is a polo game on the mall in Washington. And we meet Edwina Rogers, who's a Republican healthcare lobbyist. Lobbying for healthcare reform is what they said. What do you think the Republican position of healthcare reform is?
Well, that's what I was a little confused by. I was like, so is your whole, how do you lobby that? You just say like, got it?
Yeah, like just reform as in like remove Medicaid from existence.
Right. Yeah. Like I truly don't get what it would be. And then at one point, Edwina is meeting with Kat, and that's when Kat says like, healthcare Republican lobbyist. That's a bit of an oxymoron. And then she's like, I really think it's disgusting the way it is here and how you can't get care. And then Edwina's like, well, that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
So I'm like working on how, girl. And then Edwina has a really iconic scene because she has a big event where she's supposed to make some sort of speech, and then right before the speech, some guy comes on, and you see an ambulance like pulling onto the street, and a guy goes, unfortunately, Edwina had some business she had to attend to, and then you see them rolling out Edwina onto a stretcher, and I thought she was dead because they had her like wrapped in a blanket or something. I was like, oh my god, is that her corpse and she's dying? But she actually just had vertigo or something.
Is that what it was? Did they tell you at the reunion?
It was not discussed at the reunion that I remember, but at one point someone says that it was vertigo in that scene.
Oh my god. Well, she has these like big bulging eyes, like that are like extremely bloodshot in her scene with Kat. I don't know if you noticed that about her. And then I was researching her. I actually, when I was watching this for our conversation, I found her on Instagram, and she's actually currently trying to get her papers to move to Mexico. Which
why is that?
It seems like her partner has a home there.
And she's posting about how she's trying to get papers from Mexico?
Yeah, she flew back to New York, actually, to go to the consulate, I guess. And while she was here, it was just when there was like the big shooting that happened there the other week. And so she was posting about that. And I guess her husband or partner or whatever was there. But she also was like very into, they travel a lot. They were in Turkmenistan.
Oh, that's off the beaten path.
Yeah. And she's very into like headpieces, as I think you kind of see. I think she wears a lot of hats and I can never pronounce it. Is it fasteners or fascinators? You wouldn't know, but you know what I'm saying?
Fastener, the thing you wear to church almost.
Yeah. She was wearing, well, at Polo, they were wearing that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's called a fastener.
But I really do wish that they had made Paul a housewife.
Yeah, so Paul is a gay friend of a lot of them, and he is really central to a lot of the drama. He's in like almost every single episode, and he's the conduit for the first drama that happens, which is Linda saying to him that Michaele is too skinny and needs to eat a burger and fries. And then Paul also had, so there's more drama because Michaele says that she's going to throw a birthday party for Paul. Do you remember this? And then after the party, I guess Tarek, Michaele's husband, calls Paul's publicist. I don't know why he has a publicist for this. I guess for his like salon stuff. And says, we need to put in writing that we're not paying for anything at the party.
What do you think was their financial situation? Like, this was all going on credit cards? Like, she was buying Dior. In that first scene with her and Paul, she's trying on all these dresses and, like, you know, she's not wearing Giovanni. She's wearing Dior.
Right. Yeah, and they didn't have any money, right? Because she's looking to buy a house through Stacey, because Stacey's a real estate agent, and Stacey says, okay, I just need like proof of assets like for you to be able to do the showings. And then Tarek and Michaele never send it to her, and she's like, yeah, we never got it. So maybe they're putting on credit cards.
They say their price range is between $300,000 and $12 million.
So yeah, and then Stacey goes, okay, but we need a range, like, because that's obviously insane. Like, what are you talking about?
It's like, so every single property in the District of Washington, Columbia, whatever DC is.
Also, like 12 million in like the greater DC area, that would get you a lot. Like, the houses there are not expensive.
I mean, I don't know. Like, what is the cost of like some like huge mansion within like whatever the fanciest neighborhood of DC is?
I don't know. I just know like in like
Is that like New
Fairfax,
York?
Virginia.
I don't really know DC. Do you know DC at all?
So I know DC a little bit because my mom grew up in Fairfax, which is one of the main like Virginia suburbs, and then a lot of my family's in Arlington. And Fairfax, I think, is supposed to be pretty fancy, but like even my like my grandma's house before she sold it, like it was like less than $1 million for like a really big house. So it's definitely not comparable to New York, unless it's like gone up a ton since then. I'm sure it has gone up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, DC, that's like the other thing about this show is they keep talking about like how important and like how powerful and incredible it is to be in Washington, D.C. And it's like, who wants to be in D.C.?
Not me. It's a damn swamp.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that politically. I mean like weather-wise. Well, also too, I was thinking this today is the only one of the housewives that has any political connection, Kat, because of her husband Charles being the White House photographer. Like, is that as close as we get to politics?
Mary says that she was, I guess her grandfather was like something in DC, like news politics, like media.
Yes, yeah,
she,
something
like,
in
grew up
news.
with the Kennedys.
Yes, yeah.
Which
I remember
Kennedy
saying.
do you think it was. But did she say RFK Jr. or am I making that up?
I don't think it was RFK Jr. I thought it was one of the Johns, and she said something about like those parties were crazy.
Do you think that's true? Do you think she actually was friends with JFK Jr.?
I think that maybe she met him. The drama that like stuck out to me was the vineyard stuff where Tarek's mom is actively trying to take the vineyard away from him. The whole season is gearing up for there to be this big scandal when Tarek and Michaele sneak into the state dinner. And then halfway through, the gays, it's Jason and I can't remember what there's a gay Jason and then there's the straight
Congressional
Jason.
Black dinner.
Yeah, so Tarek
yeah.
and Michaele bring the two gays to the Congressional Black Caucus dinner. And I guess on the way, one of them points out, wait, this invitation says only one. And they say, oh, don't worry about that. They get there. They end up sneaking in through the kitchen. So like
wait, this
that.
Is the gay guy with like the dimple piercing, right? Or the like, he has got a piercing like right on his chin. Like below his
Yeah, I think so. And then his husband, because they got married in like Minnesota or somewhere where it was legal, like like in the early 2000s. I think the husband's name was like Ed or something.
He's the hairstylist.
Yes. That just really like sets up them being fraudsters. And then later, when Linda is having her Burkina Faso fashion show event, she brings a picture of Tarek and Michaele to the security to make sure that they don't let them in. And she goes, I don't want them sneaking through the back door or the front door.
Well, I mean, it was so crazy that she did that because it's like in the next episode is when they crash the like state dinner at the Obama White House, and it's like with India, which like, you know, it's just also like another foreign like embassy thing that they're always crashing.
Yeah.
Wait, the other drama is when they're at the vineyard and Tark brings up, I can't pronounce his name for the life of me,
Tarek.
He brings up that Mary's daughter Lolly is being investigated by the FBI for stealing a car from the polo match. Is that what it was?
Yes. And it comes totally out of left field. Tarek is just like really drunk and brings it up. And then Mary is just like softly crying. And to me, it felt like Mary knew about this already. Didn't it to you? Because she didn't seem surprised. She seemed just really like terrified that it was being brought up on camera and like she didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it did seem like that. Okay, so then Stacy's husband responds because only Stacy and her husband are there. And what do you think of this trope on like housewives of like this? They get very offended by like the men arguing with women. It's like constantly happening on like every single housewife. Like, don't get in women's business, and then like, especially if like her husband isn't there to like protect her or something.
I mean, I guess I kind of agree with that when it's like I think it's annoying when PK gets involved on Beverly Hills. But in this instance, they were all sitting at a table together. So I think anything is fair game, like if the husband's there.
Yeah. And he's bringing up something. I mean, it's not. No, I agree with you. Like, it's different if Dorit and Lisa are having an argument, and then she goes and tells PK, and then he comes and like does something. But I think they can have drama themselves.
I think that that's okay. But yes, but that whole scene was so weird. It
And the
was
whole
like
space that they were in too.
where they were doing this.
Yeah, it was like on a sound stage. It felt like.
Yeah, what was that? It was like the
It was
only
like
space that they could film in at the vineyard.
well, I guess it's their warehouse space, but it's entirely empty because they haven't been able to grow grapes in like however many years.
Right, since the vineyard is barren. But yeah, it's really weird. Basically, Tarek implies that Mary's daughter Lolly was involved in stealing his car and polo equipment, and that like he found this out because she commented on a picture on Facebook and said like, "Oh, is that the car we took a joyride in?" And then she ultimately is, and he says that the FBI is involved, and ultimately Lolly is exonerated, at least in the court of TV, because like she says that she didn't do it, and then nothing else happens. But it made me wonder. I think that in that scene, you're really seeing Mary become terrified that something's being brought up on camera that can't be taken back. Did you, when you personally were on TV, ever have moments where something was brought up that you didn't want to be discussed? And how did that feel?
Yes. But it wasn't my drama. So it was like, that was sort of the issue. It was like bringing up other people's things that like I knew they didn't want out.
Which is kind of what happened here, I guess. I mean, it's like essentially her daughter.
Yeah. No, when we were doing the show, Taufik was having a baby, and he like told the whole production that he didn't want that to be discussed on the show. And then you guys ended up doing it in like the final like description of like what happened. You know, like the like little writing they say at the end. What is the term for that? You know what I mean?
I can't think of what you call that even.
Yeah. The like outro, just like biography or whatever. And it was like at my birthday party, LA had told me that he was having a baby and that his girlfriend was pregnant. And then I like said it out loud, which is like,
I remember this.
And I didn't know that it was like this big secret. I mean, it's also whatever. Like if we had a season 2, we'd probably discuss that because it's very strange.
Yeah, it would have been obvious.
I mean, it's like, why do you, like, the baby's going to be born. Like, we're just not going to recognize her.
Yeah,
like,
I get it. Like, if someone's not far enough along or something and you don't, want to share the news at all. But yeah,
of course,
eventually.
Yeah.
Like...
No, but she was far along at this point. She must have been.
But so you said it and then you felt guilty that you had brought it up on camera.
Yeah, I felt extremely guilty because, like, obviously, like, it's not my place to discuss someone's pregnancy.
Yeah, totally. Do you feel like you have greater empathy for like reality TV people? I guess like ones who like just like get embarrassed on camera or like get painted as a villain or whatever, like having been on it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I got very lucky with like my edit on the show. And I don't think they edited anybody to be like a villain. That wasn't really what the show was about, but
yeah, it really wasn't.
Should have, but
maybe it would have gotten a season 2 then.
But also, I think that like you need to come about it like in a smart way. Like you need to like be willing to like give something that's entertaining and in this dramatic way that like we're trying to entertain people on reality TV. Like this isn't a fucking Vice doc. This is reality TV. This is an ensemble cast of characters that are partying together. Like, let's meet the level at where we're at, you know?
Yes.
So, like, bring a little scandal and be a little dramatic. And I do think of it honestly as like an acting assignment in many ways because it's not like, at least I did. I thought of it as an acting assignment in the sense of like I'm playing myself, but I'm still doing that within the frame of a story that I'm aware of and like telling a story. Like I'm conscious of the camera and like all the shit that like goes into production, like framing the scene and whatnot.
I think that's a very modern approach to reality TV. Like I don't think any of the ladies of DC were doing that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, for sure. I think for them, I don't know. I mean, it's such a different time and like a new mo, especially like, you know, Housewives was only around for like a year or two at that point. So like they really didn't have none of the girls had like gone to jail. This was the first big scandal. I don't think anybody really knew like the backlash of what could happen that you did on this show. Um, you know, with like what happens in the end there with Michaele. Do you think they did more to get into those parties in order to like keep themselves like with a competitive edge on the show as like bringing something interesting and entertaining to the show? Because I think that's a part
I
of it.
Yeah, and I think that they wanted to. Well, I think partially yes, but I don't think they were thinking, oh, like we're gonna sneak in and then that'll cause a scandal, which will be good drama for the show. I think they said like we're gonna get in, it's fine, we belong here, like we're high class people who belong in these circles, and we should show that. Like I don't think that they were like, oh, like we'll maybe look like
Oh
buffoons
no,
and it'll be
of course.
fine. I
Like,
think
and
they
we're
were
gonna
like,
end up testifying in front of Congress. No, 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 no.
but that's what's so crazy too is like what was their plan? You know what I mean? Like they weren't invited, and then that's what I think is interesting too is that they didn't, for at least for the White House, or sorry, not White House correspondent, the White House State Dinner. Michaele and Tarek, they didn't exactly sneak in. Like in at least what we saw, they go up to a security guard. That guard looks through the list and says, "I don't see you here," and goes, "Oh, well, you can just kind of wait over there while we figure this out." And then it looks to me like then they just kind of like wandered in and were like, this girl doesn't paying any attention, like let's just go, right? So like they went in when they weren't invited, which like you probably should be smart enough to not do, but they didn't sneak in the kitchen like they did with the previous dinner.
Yeah.
There was the other drama where it was Michaele was pretending to be a Redskins cheerleader, and that comes up at the reunion.
And she wasn't though, right? I mean, it seems like those girls knew her.
So during the show, Michaele goes to an alumni practice for Redskins cheerleaders, and she's there like doing the moves and everything, and she's like not particularly good at it. And then at the reunion, it comes out that people are saying that she isn't a Redskins cheerleader and she's lying about it. And then she has this it kind of reminded me of Kim Zolciak's moment where she talks about like, I was worried that I had cancer. And then I didn't have cancer, thank God. Like it was kind of giving that because she's like, I was never on the Redskins cheerleaders. She claims that she joined like an alumni team. And then it just made no sense. Like she was like, they asked me to come on and be part of the alumni team. I don't even know what that means. And then like she's like, well, yeah, I was on the team, but of course I wasn't on the team. It made no sense. And then Andy at one point is like, yeah. So that's the thing. After the scandal, she also comes out and says that she has MS, and everyone feels like it's kind of like convenient timing for her to be bringing that up.
Maybe she has MS.
I mean, I believe that she has MS. I think it's just like the timing felt a little bit suspect. But yeah, ultimately, I think Andy said, oh, well, like this person from the Redskins says that like you weren't on the team. So that was like another thing that she lied about. And then by the time we get to the reunion, Kat and her husband Charles are divorced. So I think that is another big thing. And before the show even aired, an article came out in the New York Times, and it was called "The Housewife's Husband Who Wishes He Said No." Oh. And it was published on August 27th, 2010. And it was basically just about how Charles was on this show because he was Kat's husband. And I thought it seemed sketchy, like when they were together. Like I was like, this is not going to work out. But it totally like hurt him career-wise, because if you're like the White House photographer, you're supposed to be like discreet and everything and kind of blend in, and then going on a reality show is the opposite of that. So he kind of compromised his career. I think he also was like annoying. And then he and Kat ended up getting a divorce before the show aired.
Yeah, I mean, there was something weird about, first of all, she said that they met when they were kids and then clarified that was when she was 19, which like is not really what I would say meeting as children as. But and then that was like a year ago, and then they were married. And then she relocated her children to America.
Yeah, Kat's whole origin story was really confusing in that she's writing like a book during this, like about all of that, because basically she met Charles when she was young or a kid, unclear which. They were not together. They were both in separate marriages, and then they decided to get together and left their marriages. I don't know like what the timing was on that. And then she went to DC, yeah, with the kids to be with him and get married, and then they only lasted like a year or two.
Wow. What do you okay, what are your thoughts on Real Housewives of DC? Do you wish there was that we had many more seasons? How do you think it would have continued?
When I first started watching DC, I was a little bit bored by it, but I realized quickly that I just needed to get used to the girls, and then I was really into it. It really feels like old school Housewives to me in a way that is really fun. I like recession era Housewives too, so I found all that to be like really enjoyable, and I think it definitely could have. Well, I don't know. It would have had to continue without Michaele and Tarek, because eventually Michaele and Tarek were scorned like by the cast, and all the cast was saying they like would not film with them. But I think that there was potential with Linda. I think there was potential with Mary, and I think maybe they could have brought on some people with more like political connections. So I think it could have been great, but I believe that the official reason for it being canceled was, I think like Andy Cohen had a quote where he said like once like a government agency is asking to see your is like subpoenaing your footage, like that's when the show has to end, because I assume there was an issue of like, is production culpable in Tarek and Michaele sneaking in, because there's a scene where someone says, "Oh, can I see your invitation?" Like at the hair salon, like asking Michaele. And she's like, "Oh, let me go get it in the car. Let me go get it. Oh God, I can't find it." And then a producer's talking to Michaele, and she goes, "Okay, so you can't find the invitation. Why is that not a big deal?" Like, so production kind of, I like had a hunch, I think, that they were not invited, but I'm sure that was like a point of contention.
Well, I mean, they follow them all the way up until the gate. Like we see them like asking, like saying their name, that they're on the list and they're not there. So I mean, I think they totally were aware or had a hunch, like as you're saying, that they weren't actually invited. But that was the whole thing, was all season long they were being accused of crashing parties, and then they did it at the White House. And I think honestly, it just seems so crazy that was a political scandal when we have like, you know, what our political scandals are today. Like how many people do you think crashed Mar-a-Lago?
Oh my God. I know, right? I know that's what was interesting, is that the way everyone was reacting, like the way like I get why it's an issue for the government. Like we obviously can't have random people going into the, you know, White House who could be like assassinating someone. But the other housewives were like so mad at them for it. And I was kind of like, girl, like let her be crazy. Like she's a housewife. Like why are you so mad?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they actually do subscribe to like, the respectability politics of Washington. But I think what would have happened is, because Michaele, I think, ends up getting divorced. When did they end up getting divorced? Let's see. So they ended up getting divorced in 2012. So like a year later.
So she could have maybe come back for season 3 or something and been without Tarek and been like, I'm a new person.
Yeah, he like, and blamed it on him. Let's see, like, I'm sure there's tons of... Okay. Oh my God, this is a crazy story. I forgot about this. In September 2011, a missing person report for Michaele was filed by her then husband, Tariq Salahi, and she was later discovered to have run off with Neil Schon, a co-founder and the lead guitarist of the rock band Journey, whom she had met earlier.
So he thought she was kidnapped, and she really was just going off with the guitar player of Journey?
Yeah, she's literally just ran.
It's kind of giving Sherry Papini.
And then her and so then they get engaged, and on stage during a charity concert at the Lyric Opera House in Baltimore. And it was her new husband's 5th marriage. Oh my God, they then had a pay-per-view wedding for $14.95, broadcast live from the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco.
Wait, that's iconic. Wait, but what would be the draw? I guess the guy from Journey is famous, so people would pay $14.95 to watch that. Because like Michaele, she didn't have that much cash.
On December 1st, 2015, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors agreed to a settlement that would pay Neil and Michaele $290,000 in response to a lawsuit that accused the city government of improperly permitting the wedding's organization to increase their fees after learning of the pay-per-view arrangement.
Tea. Do you think they would ever bring one of the original DC ladies onto Potomac?
That would be so good, but I don't know. I mean, well, Kat is obviously gone. I can't imagine she's still living in America. So,
Yeah, I'm sure she's not. She
um,
hated it.
why do you think Stacy and Jason got divorced?
Oh, right. Okay, right. You said that they got divorced. I don't know because they seemed really strong on the show.
Yeah. Um, I could see her. I mean, he's a little controlling, I thought.
Yeah, I could see
Like,
that.
um, yeah. And then Mary and her husband have like forever got divorced, which I was shocked to hear that, honestly, the most out of all of them.
Yeah, because they did, like, he seemed gay, which seemed fine, and, like, they seemed strong.
Yeah. Gay people are more than our hairstylists.
Totally. They're your husband sometimes. Oh, my God. Wait, also, this is backtracking a little bit, but we just have to hold space for the fact that at the reunion, Kat is talking about how she's no longer with her husband. She's really upset about it, whatever. And she and Michaele are really going back and forth. And Michaele says to Kat, if you can find love within you, your husband will come back. Also at that reunion,
And doesn't she say, I don't want my husband back, though, right? Isn't that?
Yeah. Yes. Also at that reunion, Linda explains that she takes Concerta, like, similar to Adderall, but she always takes it with Xanax because, like, if she only does one, like, it doesn't work. Do you think that the show do you wish that the show had continued?
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely would have brought in other girls. And I also think that they would have ended up having more traditional housewife drama without Michaele there. I think it sort of would have been like how Salt Lake City kept going without Jen. Like Jen was always the main thing. And then especially when she goes to jail is the main thing. But then the show really had this like creative ensemble drama that succeeded once Jen left. You kind of have to get rid of the overbearing character sometimes in an ensemble cast in order to let the show thrive. How many stars do we give it? I don't know.
The show?
Yeah.
I give it like 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's like a really good season 1 Housewives, and I think it had potential to grow had there not been so much scandal. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, there was, because we didn't even really let the other women have the drama that I think could have happened. Like, Linda obviously would fight with these girls. We didn't really see her do much except for in the beginning there. Mary, I totally could see having a friendship fallout with Linda.
Totally.
Yeah. A Cat fighting with all the girls.
Yeah, I think there was potential. And they could have brought in more people. Like, they could have brought Erica on as a full-time housewife. I think she would have been great.
I think she would have been great. Yeah, and I'm trying to think, are there any other, like, socialites or, like, scandal-plagued women in DC that could be on the show that we know of? Just, like, in our mind.
Like, not that I know of, but I'm surely there are, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, there must be, like, some restaurant owner that, like, had some affair or something. I don't know.
The sisters who run DC Cupcakes, they could have come on.
Oh, I don't know them. Or I remember Georgetown Cupcakes. That was a thing.
So they ran Georgetown Cupcakes, and they had a show on TLC called DC Cupcakes, and it was really good.
Oh, okay. I mean, I would love if we had like if they had more political people. I mean, imagine like how the show would have changed if they were like there for like Trump era DC. I mean, they could have changed the show to like reflect changing politics in America. Like, what would have the 2012 election been like on the?
It would have been crazy because when they were filming,
how would they handle Benghazi?
Oh my God! Right, it was because it was such like a tame political time. Like Obama was like elected, but people were still being like, even the Republicans were being civil. Or even Linda was a Republican but voted for Obama. Like it just wasn't so partisan in the way that things are now. Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. It really. I wish we could go back to those days of Obama hope.
I know, right? Yeah, there is something like so nostalgic about it when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Well, Claude, I think that is kind of everything. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Maybe you're you have appointments booking soon.
No, I'm not going to promote my practice on here.
Totally.
Keeping him private, you know. Yeah.
Totally. Although if people
personalities.
if people are followers of me, they probably need therapy more than ever. So
okay, well they can DM you directly and get my
and I'll set you up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to screen you. You know, we have more security than apparently the Obama White House.
Right, as you should. Okay, Claude. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This was so fun. And if anyone hasn't seen DC, you should watch that. And if you haven't seen The Come Up, you should totally watch that too. Although it's really hard to find now because Disney Plus took it off of streaming. So good luck.
Wow. I should reach out to the DC girls. I really understand. I guess we're in I didn't think about our similarity of being one season wonders of reality.
Wait,
TV.
Literally, yes, yeah. You should.
Do you think they I wonder if they feel they really missed out on this huge opportunity. I bet they did.
I don't know. Cause some of them it didn't seem like they I couldn't tell how much they cared about being on it. I think Michaele really cared about being on it. But other than that, I don't know how thirsty they were.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think Linda and Mary cared.
Yeah.
And Kat probably. I mean, Kat probably would have had more book sales.
Yeah, true. You didn't read her book, did you? I don't know anyone who read it.
No, I did not read Kat's book. Half of her scenes were random photo shoot scenes, her in a tunnel.
Love you, Claude. Thank you for coming on.
Bye.